I have been waiting for 3 hours. So I got up early today thinking, oh, I'll just be up and awake nice and early. I'll get in my car, I'll come over to the studio, I'll set everything up because according to the Crunchyroll Anime Awards website, voting was going to start at 9 a.m. Eastern because they had a big countdown clock and it ended at 9 a.m. Eastern. So I have been waiting since 9 a.m. Eastern. It didn't actually open at 9 a.m. Eastern. Instead, whoever programmed that countdown clock did not understand time zones or did not factor that in. So voting is actually opened up now as I have turned on the camera. It's shortly after noon. So I've kind of been fiddling around trying to amuse myself and find things of work to do because I rearranged my whole day around doing this. But I'm not going to let that filter into my thoughts at all, right? Course, because we're being professional today. So I have my laptop behind me. I'm going to be moving it in front of me shortly, and we are going to be looking at the nominations for this year's Crunchyroll Anime Awards. But before we do that, there are a couple of things that I want to get out. First, a disclaimer. Second, a thing about the Anime Awards new to this year that I felt needed discussing. First, the disclaimer in that I have been personally involved with the Anime Awards in some way, shape, or form since its inception. This is actually the first year where I've had the least amount of involvement, but I have been a presenter and or a judge for virtually every year of the Anime Awards up till this point. In some way, shape, or form, I have been involved in the voting process, however much influence judges actually have in the voting process. That's always been a question mark for a number of years, even more so this year. This year is a little bit different. I am technically a judge. I am listed on the judge page if you'd like to go and look at it. However, as I am sitting and recording this video, I have yet to do any actual judging work. Partially, this is my own fault. There was apparently a first round of judge voting last fall that I missed out on due to family issues, so I missed my window on that. However, I was still asked and accepted an offer to be a judge this year, so that means I will be involved in judging at some point in time between now and when the judging will actually end. However, we're not going to be talking about that yet because there's nothing yet to talk about. All we can do is discuss what the actual general public can do as far as voting for this year's Anime Awards. And I'm going to vote as a regular person, not as a judge. That'll be a different time and place. But because I wasn't involved in any voting up until this point, unlike previous years, I actually have literally zero idea what is going to be in the nominations this year. Usually there is some level because I've already had to sit down and seriously think not about only my own votes, but what other people might vote. And in some years I found out what the nominees were beforehand just through being a judge and how different years have worked in different ways. But this year I know literally nothing. My guess is as good as anybody else's guess as to what is actually going to be nominated. So we are going to go through them as per usual because I've done a video like this virtually every year, I think. The second thing I wanted to bring up was a change in how Crunchyroll decided to do nominations this year, in that the eligibility for any anime made a very clear cutoff, specifically of last September. Crunchyroll has decided that any anime that aired after last September, so anything from the fall season that started last October, is not eligible, which means despite giving off the air that we're going to be talking about and looking at the best anime from the past year, it's actually only going to be the last year minus 3 months. So we're only looking at 3 out of 4 seasons, and then maybe next year we'll have an actual full year of voting, though that fall season, or rather this upcoming fall season, will also be cut. It's also really depressing for this particular year, considering that if you watched my video on my favorite anime of this past year, and probably a lot of other people's, the fall season was pretty stacked, and not an insignificant amount of my favorites from this past year are from that season, and none of them are eligible. I mean, that does help out the other seasons a lot, but it still feels a little bit weird. I've tried to actually figure out why they've been doing this, and I don't actually know. No one from Crunchyroll has told me the official reason as to why the cutoff is September. My only guess about it is it's due to licensing reasons. Since not everything that shows up in the Anime Awards is actual properties that Crunchyroll deals with, because they have decided to allow things that aren't just on their service, and good for them, because that's how this should be. It's not just a voting of the best anime that just happens to be on their service. It's the best anime in general. But because of that, that means that if something gets nominated that Crunchyroll didn't have, they need to go through the proper channels to actually get the permissions to use any key art, any trailer footage, or any actual footage from the show. There actually needs to be agreements to be had there. There's a legit above board way of doing all of that, and that takes time. And it's possible that in previous years, Crunchyroll really felt pressured in order to do some of those, especially for the fall season anime, and decided that this year, no, we're just not going to do that anymore, and give them an extra 3 months to deal with all that. But it just really sucks from a lot of perspectives, actually, because the awards are actually going to be given out in March. Like, I would understand if this was going to be an award show given out in December, for example, because then it's like, okay, well, they only had like 2.5 months. That season is still airing as the awards would be presented, so it would make sense to cut them off. But the fact that now the awards are being given out in March, like a whole 6 months after your cutoff, it just feels like that gap is needlessly wide. So not only putting the cutoff in at the end of September, but then also not presenting it until March, that just seems like way too much time. Like, what is this? Jeff Keighley and the freaking gaming awards giving Arcane a, giving Arcane an eligibility for this past year, despite it having already released the year before. We had to allow it because last year, even though the show had finished, it wasn't enough time for everybody to see it. No, screw that. No, you had time. Jeff Keighley, you're trying to tell us that Arcane was not eligible for any sort of award like that in 2022 because there wasn't enough time, of course. However, you did absolutely have enough time to book Imagine Dragons to perform that show's opening theme for your awards ceremony. I'm sorry, that's just a load of crap. So with Crunchyroll doing this, it just feels like certain award shows are just kind of making up rules as they go along. And I guess that's kind of what they have to do, considering, oh, well, the Oscars don't do that. Oh, well, yes, except that the entire Hollywood industry revolves around the Oscars. And any film that actually thinks it's going to be possible to be in the Oscars at all puts its release date accordingly. It's a very different relationship. Anyway, so now I'm going to get everything set up, and we're going to examine all of the nominees for the Crunchyroll Anime Awards, and we're going to vote on some of them, at least the ones that I think are worthy. Let's jam. Now we are set up. I have my laptop in front of me. I tried to set everything up accordingly so that I could examine the website and talk about it while also being on my set, as I have done several years before. So, to the website. Now, the one thing that I will say, I haven't looked at any of these yet, of course, but I will say I do think if this is working the way I think it is, I very much prefer how this is set up compared to previous years. In previous years, it used to just be like all on one page, and because I like doing Anime of the Year last, I always had to quickly scroll past Anime of the Year. Now we don't have to do that. Now I should just be able to click on Best Original Anime. And there we go. We're not going to watch the video because I don't want Crunchyroll to yell at me or try to get me demonetized on YouTube. That's been a thing in previous years. So how this generally speaking works is that we are going to go down every category by category, and we're going to see what has been nominated. And based on my opinions on what the anime has been, we are going to pick. And let's see how quickly or how slowly we will go through this. So, Best Original Anime. What is Crunchyroll's definition of an original anime? An original anime is not adapted from source material. It is an entirely unique creation. While that itself is an accomplishment, these shows also present an impactful and entertaining story that elevates the title to another level. So basically, it's just not an adaptation. You can flower it up as you will. Now, if you know my own list already, you'll know that my pick here is probably going to be Lycra's Recoil. See, there are a couple of factors when it comes to me voting in these, and sometimes it is not always me voting for what I think would be the most deserving, as crappy as that is, because these awards are, for lack of a better description, a popularity contest, right? So I generally speaking, and this will probably be more of a factor in other categories, I generally speaking not only try to find a balance between shows or anime, because it's not always shows, for anime that I think is not only deserving, but also has a high chance to actually win. And in some cases and in some categories, I specifically go against the grain, because if I know a show is utterly popular and everyone's going to be talking about it and so many people are going to vote it, I try to sometimes vote for the next biggest thing in hopes that it'll actually succeed. So in the best original anime category, Liger's Recoil is the one that I had the most fun with personally. And so our vote will go there. Enter your email to vote. Am I not logged in? All right, hold on. We'll be right back. Okay, there we go. And we're back. My vote was submitted. And I can keep helping my favorites by coming back daily until January 25th. Let's see how many people actually remember to do that every single day. That's actually a bit of information I wouldn't mind knowing, how many people actually do come back and how that actually affects like the actual results at the end and how much the results would change if they just said, hey, here's our like week span of time. You only get one vote. Go. It would be interesting to see that. All right, best original anime, that's handled. Best character design. Who do we have here in best character design? Okay, a lot of good favorites. Now, if we were to go by just my favorite anime in general, three of my favorites are here, being Spy Family, Dress Up Darling, and Edge Runners. However, that's not always what I want to look at. And especially for a category like best character design, JoJo has been and will continue to be around for a while. And things like that do bother me a lot. I very much don't like uh the types of awards that keep getting granted to the same thing year after year after year. For the anime awards specifically, Deku getting best boy at least like 2 years in a row always has been a thing that bothers the heck out of me. Now that being said, Ranking of Kings, this is for the second core of Ranking of Kings, and I'm quite sure that Ranking of Kings was also nominated for a whole slew of things last year. Not that I actually remember literally everything it won last year. I should have probably checked that. I did not. Considering that Ranking of Kings has had a chance before, that JoJo has and will continue to have a chance again, I actually think that my vote is going to go in the character design category for Edge Runners. For a variety of reasons, the characters of Edge Runners are unique. The setting lends itself into that heavily, and some of my favorite characters, design-wise, came from this show this year. So I would be most happy to see it win that category. And that is how we are going to continue to do things going forward. Next category. Best animation. All right, so we got some repeats. The entire bottom fourth here is the exact same as character design, except apparently the character design of Attack on Titan and Ekibi's Sailor uniform is not as good. So whatever. Now, as far as actual animation goes, common thought would be that a lot of voters will either go for Titan or Demon Slayer because they are the historically more popular shows. Demon Slayer may also win character design for the exact same reasons, which has me then instead putting my vote towards Spy Family because it is superb. And I'm trying to go against what my perceived grain is as far as the popularity contest of this awards. So that was best animation. That was pretty quick. Best new series. All right, this is a different category and a new category. You are giving me what is wrong with your website. Okay, hold on. If I refresh the page, will that make it better? Are you going to give me, you're not going to give this to me in English. Why do you think that I am not in English? At the bottom of the page, it says English. It gives me the option. All right, here's a question. If I swap it to Japanese, it changes everything to Japanese. Does it still give this in Japanese? It does. Okay. We're trying to fix your website. Now, if I switch it back to English, will it do it there? No. Why can't you tell me what a new series is? I want to know. So I guess we're just going to have to assume that by new series, considering the next award is best continuing series, that this is just, hey, this is not something that exists either with an existing IP or a season 2 or anything. It is just, it's best new season 1, I suppose. So out of all of the things here, I know there are a lot of fans of Call of the Night, and I'm happy that it actually got a shout out somewhere. And my boy, ya boy, made it on the list somewhere. Yeah, a fun series that I couldn't justify putting in my top 10, but still a great series regardless. However, 4 of the other shows I did put in my top 10. So now it just comes down to which of these do I think was a good new series, which is best out of these. The new doesn't really qualify because they all kind of exist in that realm. 3 of which, however, are never going to have a continuation, as far as we know. At least nothing that has been. Wait, I'm not going to say that because I screwed up the last time I say that. For all I know, Dress Up Darling already has a new season that's announced. Same with Lycos Recoil. I doubt Edge Runners is, so maybe we're just going to go and give it to Edge Runners because it probably deserves it the most. All right, so after new series, what is next? Best continuing series. Do you give this to me in English? Yes, you do. Sustaining excellence is no small feat, particularly when it comes to anime. Considering all of the creativity, effort, and planning that goes into one season, the ability to hold a fan's attention year after year is worthy of celebration. I mean, it's a lot of fluff to just say, hey, these are all multiple seasons or season 2s of things, which, I mean, I don't even really need to be here long enough to tell you that this is where my vote's going to go, and nothing is ever going to change that. So we're not really going to spend the time looking at everything else. Apologies to freaking JoJo and Kaguya-sama, because my God, but still, I have to do it. It had to be done. It had to be done. Now, best opening sequence. Generally speaking, oh, I actually thought I knew my answer to this going into this. Oh, out of curiosity. Is this in English too? This is going to be a thing that I have to check now every single time. Yes, I'm not going to read it, but yes, I know what a best opening sequence is. I don't need the big long explanation as to what it is. I thought my vote was going to go to Spy Family pretty quickly on this one. However, have you ever watched the OP to your boy Konming? Because Chicky Chicky Bon Bon is, I'm going to go with that. We're going to go with ya boy. We got to go with ya boy on that one. I feel like Spy Family is probably going to, and if it does, justified, well worth it. However, for my own personal sake, my own personal choice, I have to go with ya boy in that particular instance. Now, in this case, I actually think for ending sequence, I am going to go with Spy Family. This is one ED. I don't normally watch EDs all the way to the end. Either it is a show that I am watching weekly, in which case I have moved on to my next thing, either another show or something else that I'm doing when the ED actually plays, or it's something that I am watching that is already finished and I just move on to the next episode. But Spy Family, I watch the ED every single freaking time. And I enjoyed doing so every single freaking time, every week. And I think that is worthy of a vote in that case. I already know best score before even opening it, unless the people that did first round of judge votes are idiots and have a complete lack of taste. They are not good. Good for you. You know what you're doing. I don't feel completely worthless for having not been there during the initial judge voting rounds. Now, best film. This one is always interesting to see because you have the big ones here. Best film category has always had a twofold problem. And actually, it's a one-fold problem that has two major downsides to it. The one-fold problem is availability. A lot of anime films don't get shown everywhere. So when it comes to asking the judges, hey, what are the best films for the year? It really depends on what they were able to actually freaking see. And then that becomes a double problem when you actually ask the general public, hey, which film did you actually go see? I really am curious as to how many people will come to this website to do this voting and have actually seen The Deer King. How many people have actually seen The Deer King? I think it's going to be a lot less than One Piece Red. That is just a guess. It's, is a personal opinion based on my own experience and my own unknown justifications. I'm just putting it out there that I have a feeling that the majority of people who have come to this website are more likely to have actually seen One Piece Red than The Deer King. However, my vote is going to go over here because Science Saru is freaking great, as is that film. Inuo is absolutely amazing. And chances are, One Piece Red is probably going to take it. Just because, again, popularity contest. What is the chances that any other film has been seen more than One Piece Red? Enough that people will vote for it in large numbers. Now, what is best anime song? The fact that Spy Family's ED and Kyungming's OP are here. Okay, what's your description for best anime song? This category recognizes a vocalist, instrumental, soloist, duo, group, or collaborative recording played during any part of an anime series. These are songs that get stuck in your head, make you want to sing along, and give you a rush of emotion. I understand the thought process behind this category. You really should have excluded OPs and EDs. However, I feel like the reason why you didn't is because then you wouldn't have had enough nominees to actually justify the category existing. So now you're just doubling up. And that's kind of a problem. Although it does give you the option to put in a song from One Piece Red, which would not have gotten an OP or ED thing there besides. So okay, I don't like this because we gave OP already to your boy, and I don't like doubling up like this, but this whole category is doubling up. That's almost what it is. Yes, okay. So Shadow's House gets its own song, which I'm assuming is not an OP or an ED. I never actually finished watching Shadow's House, and that's kind of the thing. It's like, this feels like it should be a best insert song category, but not a lot of anime always get insert songs. Heck, if the fall season was allowed, the best insert song would have probably been the first opening for Mob Psycho 100 the first opening from season 1 that was used in season 3. That probably would be here and would win. I don't like doubling up. It goes against a lot of my thoughts and desires for these types of awards, but since the entire category is just based around it, I feel like I have no choice. Now, best director. This is always an interesting category because, again, in a scenario like this where you are trying to decide what the popularity contest will say, I almost wonder if, in some cases, it goes to well-known directors, directors that actually are already household names, or it'll just go to people's favorite anime, and they'll just assume, oh, well, since it's my favorite anime, it must have been directed really, really well. And that can be a little bit hard because, like, even as I sit here, I do feel like it is sometimes hard to tell just by watching a thing what actual things that you are watching were because of the director's vision or the director's style or anything like that. Occasionally it is very obvious, especially with some more well-known directors in the anime space. But largely, I feel like many people, myself included, have a pretty hard time determining what the director does by just watching the show and cannot be attributed to some other part of production, either through the script or the original adaptation, if they're using that largely as a storyboard and a lot of things. So in my case, I'm actually going to go with Edgerunners on this one, I think, because I'm going to do that largely for one reason and one reason only, and that is pacing. So not only is Edgerunners like a whole complete package from beginning to end, but it is paced well in such a way that it is entertaining all the way through and does not rely or does not lean on other seasons or further seasons to do that, which is not the case for Demon Slayer, Spy Family, Ranking of Kings, or for Titan. All of those have other seasons either past what we have seen, that will be upcoming, or prior because they have already existed. And then it's the choice between Edgerunners and Lycoris, and honestly, I do feel like Edgerunners was paced far better. There's a lot of good things about Lycoris Recoil that I enjoyed watching, but pacing would not be it. There's definite ups and downs throughout the series. Edgerunners, however, not so. So that is why we'll go for director there. Now, next category, best main character. Oh, so we're not doing best boy and best girl. We're just doing best main and best supporting character. Oh, and must protect character of all costs. Okay, so best main character. What is Crunchyroll's description of the main character, whether hero, antihero, or villain? Ooh, interesting. The main character is the face of the series, but not just their personalities that make them beloved. It's their stories and the journeys that make them worthy. All right. So a couple of these disagree with, in that for My Dress Up Darling, while Martin is one of the two main characters, that's kind of the thing. Both Dress Up Darling and Spy Family are essentially an ensemble, I would say, more so than anything else. And removing that from discussion just is a detriment to the thing as a whole. So yes, Marin is the main character, but she's not the only one. Yes, Lloyd is the main character, but he's not the only one. And as such, I don't feel like, in a different way than like Edge Runners, because yes, Edge Runners is also like an ensemble. The supporting characters within Edge Runners are very important, but it is also very clear that the story of Edge Runners is David's story. The story of Spy X Family isn't solely about Lloyd. Like there are entire episodes that are just about Anya, which kind of cements her also as another as one of the main characters. And for Marin to be considered the main character of Dress Up Darling, even though for a large part she's not even the POV character, that just seems a little odd to me. I'm actually going to go with Chisato in this particular case because, as I said, there are some popular, well, not some popular, some like really well done things about Lycoris, and the characters in my mind are one of them. And I think Chisato as a main character would be great. I would love to see a follow-up anime that is all of the characters from Lycoris in a slice of life setting. I feel like that would just be an amazing series that I would be so chill with. Now, if we move into supporting character, Anya's a supporting character? She is not. She's a main character too. Same with yours. Screw you guys. Come on. But I mean, Rebecca's gonna get it. Let's be honest here. We're just leaving it there. They're main characters. Come on. Must protect this character at all costs. Hey, Anya's there again for that too. I don't like doubling up, and it's a good thing I didn't have to. So out of everyone here, yeah, we're gonna go with. Well, I mean, did I vote for Boji as best boy last year? I feel like I did. I can't recall, but I feel like we're gonna give it to Anya anyway, as my voice starts to go. Next up, best action. Oh, wait, is best fight scene a category? I didn't read all the categories. No, there is no best fight scene this year. Great, because that was always a pain in the ass category to work with. So instead, we're just doing best action in general, and that's hard. So some of these shows are really well known for it. Demon Slayer and Attack on Titan are main examples there. Edge Runners had phenomenal action in particular moments, but I would say it is not what I watch Edge Runners for. Lycoris had probably some of the best individual action scenes, but the problem I have with that one there is that they are few and far between. So really, I think my personal choice comes down either between Spy Family or Stone Ocean. And because I haven't give Stone Ocean like any credit at all yet, we're going to give it there. Because I even though I do feel like that'll probably be one of the main things that everyone votes for, I'm not going against the grain on that one, I don't think. Unless there is a very big difference between the people that watched Demon Slayer and Attack on Titan versus people that actually watched Stone Ocean. Because there has been a lot of discussion on how Netflix has advertised Stone Ocean and whether or not they did a good enough job to increase the viewer base of JoJo as a whole. And that might actually affect things. The fact that I have to scroll up there is annoying. Best comedy. I already know the answer to this going in. You're going to put Spy... Well, I guess, yeah, Spy Family is a comedy, I guess. But that would not have been my first thought. And that would not be the first genre I think of when I think of Spy Family. But Kaguya is absolutely going to get it here. Best romance down there, too. Depending on whatever else is voted, he's probably going to get my vote there. Oh God, my voice is going. I apologize on how that may or may not sound in post. Best drama. Oh, hey, 86 part 2. Man, that's the first time you showed up. So normally I would pick Main and Abyss. All right, I'm actually going to peek. I'm going to peek ahead really quick. Does Main and Abyss show up in fantasy as well? It does. Okay. So I don't like doubling up. I hate doubling up. It is something that I don't like doing for things that are very similar. So like in this case, we're talking about drama and we're talking about fantasy, and romance is down there too. But these are two like very different genres. And yes, I do realize that some shows can overlap with them, and that's fine. But because they can overlap, I generally speaking like to avoid voting for the same thing twice. So as far as drama, we're going to go for Edge Runners. And then for the fantasy, we're going to go with Abyss. Boom, 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 boom. Like, I know a lot of other people are probably going to go with, like, I would lean towards the majority going for Mushoku Tensei under this. Either that or Demon Slayer, because Demon Slayer just have massive popularity. But we don't know. We have no idea. We will find out whenever they tell us. Now, this one is a little bit hard for me. So Best Romance, it is a tie in my head at this moment between Dress Up Darling and Kaguya-sama. And I have given Kaguya-sama Best Comedy. I did give it Best Comedy, did I not? I could have sworn I did. Yes, I did. So in that case, Best Romance will then go instead to Dress Up Darling, because I do not like doubling up. Best Voice Artist Performance. This is specifically Japanese. And now I'm realizing yet another problem I'm having with this website is that it doesn't actually tell me the character in question. And I don't always connect the name with the character. I'm sure if I click on it, it'll tell me, yes, okay. If you click on it, it'll give you the full details. But really, I would have liked that to have been something that shows up here. It's not like there's not enough blank space for you to have freaking put it. Okay, I think this one's hard. I think I'm gonna go with Anya. It was a toss-up between either Anya or Jolene. I mean, I do. Yuki Kaji, I'm pretty sure, has been nominated for a number of years, and Natsuki, like. Tajiro and Eren are the main characters of their respective franchises. They get a lot of stuff elsewhere. Yes, Anya might get some things in future years, but it always has to start somewhere. Now, I am curious as to who gets shown up here. Mandali accumulate. Okay, so this is hard. Yeah, you are. Yeah, okay. That's what I thought. That's who I thought you put there. Okay, so my tie in Best VA English is 3 ways, and that is never good. A 3-way tie is horrible, because at least a 2-way tie, you can flip a coin. So my 3-way tie is between Amanda Lee, Sunwon, and Zach. I enjoyed all of their performances in all 3 of these shows, to the fact that I actually went out of my way to watch these 3 shows in English, which I didn't have to. That sucks. All right, here's what we're going to do, and here's how I'm going to solve this. Today, we're going to vote for Zach, and then tomorrow, I'm going to vote for Sungwon, and then the next day, I'm going to vote for Amanda, and then we're gonna loop through them as we go, and hopefully everything will line up at the end, which leaves us with one final category, Anime of the Year. Now, before we click on this, I like to do this little thing where I attempt to guess what is going to be an Anime of the Year. Now, we've already seen a bunch of repeats, so let's just try and guess what's probably going to be there. Edge Runners is probably going to be in there, because Edge Runners has shown up a lot. Demon Slayer has shown up a lot. Titan has shown up a lot. Trying to think. Ranking of Kings did show up a lot, but that seems like more of a judge's darling personally, versus something that's actually going to be there. Spy Family is probably going to be there. And I feel like I'd like to say that Main and Abyss will also be there, because that would be my personal pick, but I don't think that anybody else voted for that in Anime of the Year. I could be wrong. And then I think that there's going to be one thing of Anime of the Year that is just randomly there, just because that's how votes are tabulated, despite the fact that it didn't get very far in many of the other ones. So let's have a look-see. Attack on Titan, Edge Runners, Demon Slayer, Lycoris Recoil, Ranking of Kings, and Spy Family. Okay, so Ranking of Kings was a judge's darling, and it did make it. Same with Lycoris Recoil. I didn't think Lycoris Recoil is good enough to be in this list. Like, Attack on Titan and Demon Slayer makes sense because they're stupidly popular. And honestly, I'm going to give this one to Edge Runners. Because hell, Edge Runners should have won Jeff Keighley's Stupid Gaming Awards, but no, they gave it to Arcane. Not that the Arcane is dumb or bad. Arcane is brilliant, but Arcane was from last year and should not have been put up against Edge Runners. That that was a targeted assassination on our good people that worked on Edge Runners. But that is it. That is what we have voted on. And that is how things will go. Now, according to this, you are supposed to vote daily until January 25th. January 25th at 5 p.m. Pacific. That's an interesting time to end. But who knows, based on everything else on this website, that may be incorrect as well. We'll have to see going forward. So if you haven't voted yourself on any of these categories, there'll be a link in the description, and I'm sure you could Google it as well if you'd rather just do that. Go and vote. Vote every day if you remember to. And we will have to see who actually wins. That'll be an interesting time. I am sad that my anime of the year, my big anime of the year, being Made in Abyss, didn't even make the nominations. However, I was there for this. So that is it for our video today. Thank you for coming along on this journey with me, even though I've been here longer than you, potentially, because I've been waiting a bunch of hours to even record this video, and now I got to edit it and get it up hopefully by the end of the day so that you all can enjoy and see my thoughts. And until next time, ladies and gentlemen and others, watch more anime, specifically every anime on this list that you actually haven't seen. There are a lot of really good stuff here. No, seriously, I don't think there was a bad anime that really got nominated at all. So watch anything that you have not seen and stay frosty.